Hey guys, it's Sarah. I'm here today to give you a summertime everyday makeup tutorial. So let's get started. Alright, so first things first, you're going to want to prime your face. This is basically going to give you a base for your foundation, and my favorite primer to use is the Cover FX. And this has SPF 30. This is the protection primer, and I really like it because in the summer you want to have a little bit of SPF just to protect your skin from the sun. So I'm going to take about a pea-sized amount and just rub that in. I like to start in the T-zone because that's where I tend to get the most oily. I find that being the place where my makeup slips off the most. And I like to pat it in too so that it's really filling in those pores. The next thing I'm going to do is take my foundation. I am using the Too Faced Born This Way foundation right now. I've really been loving it. It really does give a full coverage, but I like to start off with one pump because you can always build up. And I really like this foundation because, like I was saying, you can build up the coverage, but you can also do like a more medium coverage just by reducing the amount of pumps. And I'm using the IT Cosmetics foundation brush for this. I really like it because it's really dense but soft, and it blends out this foundation really well. I'm just going to take anything left on the brush down the neck to blend it out. And a trick that I found on other tutorials is to really blend it into the hairline and kind of onto the ear to really make it look natural and blend in with the skin. Now, as you can see, I've still got a little bit of redness peeking through here around the nose, a little bit here. I also have some texture on my skin. This foundation, the only thing I'll say about it is bad, is that it can accentuate texture on the skin, in my opinion. I'm going to add one more pump just because I want this to be a full coverage look. If that's not your deal, feel free to skip this part. And excuse my baby crying in the background. I think he's ready for bed. And the reason I'm kind of patting this is to give more coverage. I find that when I pat, it really does a good job of giving the most coverage as compared to like buffing like this. I feel like that kind of takes away some of the coverage. So if you see me doing that motion around the edges, that's because I'm trying to blend it out. And then tapping in the middle because, like I was saying, I want to get more coverage here around those red spots. Alright, so the foundation's on. I'll get closer so you can see. It gives really nice coverage. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do is take this NYX HD Concealer in this shade CW02, and it's also called Fair. And I really like this for highlighting underneath the eye. And I'm doing this just so I get a nice highlight in the center of the face. To blend that out, I'm going to use the same IT Cosmetics brush. I can't remember the name of this. I think it's just the foundation brush. And again, I'm patting because I want to have more coverage. I'm really trying to blend this into the corner right here where I can get darkness in my eyes. Really want to cover that up and give the eyes a nice highlighted, wide awake look. Okay, so now I'm going to take my NYX banana powder and a e.l.f. complexion brush, and I am going to set my under eyes. Alright, so I have taken that NYX banana powder and just set down the middle of my face where I put the NYX concealer and under the eyes. I'm just going to pack a little bit more of that on. And then we'll blend some of that away towards the end. The next thing I'm going to do is take this crown brush. It is, I guess, just a contour brush. I really like this. I got this at BeautyCon in LA. And I'm going to take my Too Faced Chocolate Soleil Bronzer. I've had this for a long time. It lasts forever. And this is really great. So taking that on my brush, I'm going to tap a little bit of that excess off and go in right at this part of my jaw. You can see, if you suck your cheeks in, you can kind of see where your jawline is, and just going right along that. I'm going to start packing that on and then in circular motions blending it out. And I'm blending this up from my jawline, not down, because this area I want to stay nice and highlighted. Same thing goes for the other side. If you're wondering what I'm looking at, my husband is walking my baby in the stroller right now outside. Alright, so you're just going to keep blending that in. And then the next thing I'm going to do is take a little bit more, and I'm going to blend that into the hairline. And this is really just going to make your skin look sun-kissed. I really like it. I wouldn't really call it contouring. I guess it is contouring. It's a pretty natural approach to contouring, I would say. I don't like to do anything too crazy. Now I'm going to add a little bit more on my brush, and I'm going to squeeze my brush like this to kind of make it more narrow. And then I'm going to go in down the bridge of the nose and really slim that down. Alright, last thing to do is take a little bit more. And I like to blend this underneath the jaw and down the neck just to make sure everything matches. Alright, so now I'm going to take my Too Faced Sweethearts blush in Peach on my Real Techniques 100 brush. And I'm just going to start blending that onto the apples of my cheeks. And this blush just fits and hugs the apples of the cheeks really nicely. I just blend it back a little bit. So now that our blush is blended out, I'm going to take the Real Techniques 300 brush and the Becca Opal Highlighter. This is so beautiful. You can tell I'm about to hit pan. I have used this up this summer. It is the perfect summer highlight. And I'm just going to kind of pat that in on the high points of my face. Got a little bit too heavy on the nose, so I'm just going to take my powder brush and blend that away a little. So now I'm going to take this e.l.f. brush. It has a part spoolie and part angled brush on there with my Anastasia Dip Brow in the shade Dark Brown. And I'm going to get a little bit on my brush and just start making that angle on the bottom of my eyebrow. And I think the trick to this is not starting off with too much product. Just a little bit at a time goes a long way. I'm just going to create this shape by going across the bottom in short, small strokes and really creating that shape that I want. And I like to concentrate the product towards the tail of the brow and then adding it back in towards the front as you go. And you can tell I'm due for a visit to the waxing bar. So again, I'm just creating that line at the bottom of the brow, going across with short, small strokes, following the natural curve, but just filling in those sparse areas and concentrating on the tail before filling in the front. I find that concentrating the darkest parts towards the ends creates a more natural look. And since my brows are already pretty dark, I like that better than having it completely dark through the whole brow. Another quote that I really love is, "Brows are sisters, not twins." And I have to embrace that because this brow never wants to match the other. But that's okay. The next thing I'm going to do is take that Too Faced Chocolate Soleil bronzer again. But this time I'm going to take a fluffy brush. This is by e.l.f. I'm just going to take a little bit of that on my brush, tapping off the excess, and start blending that into the outer corner and the crease. This is just going to give some dimension to the eye. Now, I'm not going to be doing a complete eyeshadow look today because for me, an everyday look doesn't include eyeshadow. This is kind of just like a little extra step that I'll throw in from time to time if I want to give a little bit more dimension to the eye. I know some people are going to say, "Oh, you're crazy for not putting eyeshadow on," but for me, it's just when I'm rushing out the door, eyeshadow becomes an afterthought very quickly. And really take the time to blend this out because the more you do, the more natural it's going to look. Alright, so now that we have that all blended out, the next thing I'm going to do is take my NYX eyeliner. And I just got this recently, and I've been loving it. I was a huge fan of the They're Real Benefit liner for the longest time, but I ran out recently, and on a trip to Ulta, I saw the NYX Felt Tip Liner, And I just thought, you know what? It's a lot cheaper. Let's give it a try. And so I picked it up and I really love it. So I'm going to pull at the outer part of my eye a little bit and just run that right across, following the shape of my eye and linking it out at the tail. And just like that, you've got a cat eye on. Now this is subtle. It's not anything major, but I find that just using the tip of this and allowing it to create the cat eye for you as you move it along the eye, it just comes out perfectly. And when I try too hard, I end up messing it up. All right, that looks pretty even to me. So the next thing I'm going to do is put on my L'Oreal Voluminous Primer. I just got this in my Influencer box and I love it. I've been trying it for about a week now, and you put it on before the Voluminous Original. So these two paired together has been great. I really like it. It does add another step into my everyday routine, but I feel like it's worth it because it really does make a difference in the fullness of my lashes. So I was sent this product for free to try, but I really do, like I said, I really like it. So you start with one lash, you start with one eye first. And what I like to do when I'm applying this is start at the root and give it a little wiggle to really get it into those lashes. And then after you get the primer on the first eye, immediately go in with the mascara and apply. The one problem I have had with this mascara, being completely honest, is that it is very wet, and so I do have to wait for my top eyelashes to dry before I apply mascara to the bottom lashes, which is not, see, and now I got it underneath my eye. Not too big of a deal, but we can cover that up with some powder and concealer later. Other than that, I really do like this mascara. It's just a little bit wet. So now taking the primer on the other eye, I'm going to go in with the mascara now over the top of that. And that just gives a really great lengthening mascara. And I really like that it's a very inexpensive mascara. I was using Tarte for the longest time. Wonderful mascara. It was the Lights Camera Lashes mascara, but it was very pricey, and this is a lot more practical for me. So now I'm going to take my powder brush, since I've got a little bit underneath the eye, and now that it's dried, I'm just going to kind of brush it off. And you can see, oh, Siri's trying to talk to me. You can see that just letting the mascara dry before you try to rub it off prevents it from smearing, and then you can just take a powder brush or a Q-tip and it'll come right off. And that also works for on the eyelids as well. So now I'm going to take a little bit of that mascara and apply it to the bottom lashes. Alright, so now I have that on. The next thing I'm going to do is take this Too Faced Melted lipstick. I really love this. The color is Chihuahua. And I'm just going to throw that on really quick. I really love this color. It's such a pretty nude. Alright guys, so here's today's completed look. I hope you really like it. This has been so much fun. Please comment down below, like this video, and subscribe. Thanks.